Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So have you ever wondered how certain people can get through the hardest and craziest times and still seem like they're in control of themselves? And you might think, well, gosh, if anything like that were to happen to me, I would just fall apart. I don't know if I could survive that. Well, let me tell you, it doesn't matter what happens to you in this world. All that matters is how you react to it. Just like it doesn't matter which emotions arise inside of you. You don't want to suppress your emotions. You become a robot, a fake person if you do that. Allow any emotion to come up. It doesn't matter if it's hatred or passion or whatever. Allow any emotion to come up. It's how you act. Not every emotion needs to be acted upon. Some emotions that you might arise into, like say for example hatred, you might experience that. Even Martin Luther King or Gandhi, the Dalai Lama, the Pope, they experience hatred, but they don't act upon it. And we have this self-talk, this mind chatter that's always going in our brains. That sometimes can be really incredibly difficult to endure. The first step is to learn how to take control of it, is to realize that you have many voices inside your head, but only one true voice. And that one true voice may not be the loudest one, maybe the quietest one. You may not even hear it because you got so much other shit running, so many other dialogues running. Some people don't realize that this whole process is going on, and they just kind of have this belief that any thought you think is somehow real. Your thoughts aren't real. You don't need to act upon them. In fact, very few of your thoughts need action. Very few. The only thought that comes up that needs action is the voice from that one true guide that you have within you. That's your real you. All those other voices, all those other dialogues that you run is just bullshit. Your brain is a wonderful servant, but a horrible master. So you want to be able to take control, and to take control of that self-talk starts with releasing it. Recognize that you're doing it. Oh, I'm just running my fucking mouth inside my head. I'm just thinking a bunch of stupid thoughts, useless thoughts. We think a lot of fear-based thoughts. In fact, almost all thoughts have a sponsoring thought. So if you think, I'm not worthy, well, that has a sponsoring thought. And when you keep tracing it back of, well, where did that I'm not worthy statement come from? You finally get back to a root of fear. Just like when you think that, say, for example, the opposite of that, I am worthy. You say, well, where did that come from? How come I think I'm worthy? That goes to a place of love. Because when you love somebody, think about how you talk to them. When you love your child and you're counseling your child, you're talking to your kid, think about how you encourage your kid. It's unconditional. You do everything you can to empower that person. This is within you. You have that ability, and you can do this with yourself. And that will counteract all that negative fear-based bullshit. We can think our way into anxiety attacks. In fact, most all anxiety attacks come from just your thoughts. It doesn't matter what happens around you. You could be in the middle of a war. You could be in the worst pandemic we've had in 100 years. You could be surrounded by what you think is uncontrollable random acts that could feel very dangerous and, threatening. But if you're in control of your mindset, if you're in control of that self-talk, and you're coming from a place of love, which means you're truly listening to the one true voice that's there and gotten rid of all the others, then like I said, it doesn't matter what's going on around you. Doesn't matter the scenario. Bad shit's going to happen. And it's just all a question of how you deal with it. Emotions are going to arise. But it's all a question of which ones you act upon. Practice makes perfect. Practice builds strength. The more that you take control of your mindset, the more of a true warrior you become. A true warrior can walk through any kind of adversity with calmness. And instead of being an experiencer who is somebody who's lost in the moment, lost in their emotions, lost in action without thinking first, impulsive. The experiencer suffers panic attacks and anxiety attacks regularly. The observer, that's a true warrior mindset, to be the observer and to observe what's going on around you in a calm, collective way. To observe the emotions that arise within you in a calm way without having to act upon them. And just notice, oh, okay, that's sadness, that's hatred. And you identify it and release it. You counteract it with positive affirmations, with positive self-talk instead of negative self-talk. Stop those dramas that you create in your head. Stop those dialogues that don't serve you. Stop those fantasies and that you run. People run stories in their head and will think them out because they think they're so smart. They think that they have to have an answer for everything. You don't. You don't need an answer for everything. You don't need everything planned out. I used to be horribly cursed by this kind of thinking, where I felt like the only way I could really survive, what survival was about, was to run every kind of possible scenario in my brain and run it all out to the end, so that way I know. And I can be like, oh, well, I thought about this before. You don't have to run these kinds of dialogues, these kinds of stories, fantasies, whatever you want to call them. Stop it all and quiet the mind. And through that silence will arise the one true voice that you should be listening to. It's there within every single person. That's the voice that will guide you. That's the voice that will guide you in love. That's the voice that will calm you down when you're feeling emotionally unstable. That's the voice that will get you through any scenario. Doesn't matter how horrible it is. Doesn't matter if it's 30 years in prison or if you're in financial hardships and you feel like the fear-based side is like, do something now. I gotta go crazy. The warrior will calm you down. The place of love will tell you everything's gonna be okay. And you will get the type of action that matters. Because eventually, with any scenario, action is necessary. In business, you know this. You can't just sit around on your hands thinking about planning forever. But you don't want to act on the first instinct because your first instinct may be coming from a place of fear. Let it be a game instead of a battle inside your brain. Love always wins, but you have to give it a chance. That's why you have to quiet some of that bullshit. Release it. Let it go. Pour out the glass from last night, wash it out. You don't let it fester, because any kind of still body of water, whether it be a pond or even a glass of water, will develop bacteria. If you want to clear the waters and you're walking through, say, muddy waters, if you've ever lived next to a river, you don't clear the waters by stomping around. You clear the waters by allowing the dust and the dirt and the mud to settle, by being still. That's how it works inside your brain. Taking control of your self-talk is the most important lesson that I've ever learned. It's the most important advice that I can pass on to anybody. It's the key to discipline. It's the key to success. It's the key to anything that you're going to do in your life, physically or mentally. Is first taking control of that self-talk and creating a positive mindset, coming from a place of love, from a place of true power. So this is all just food for thought. Thanks for watching.